Hello and welcome back to another. I can't even talk. It's ToryTalks Super Mario RPG Edition. We're picking back up where we left off near Tadpole Pond, and this is a really interesting. I got some things I want to talk about today, but this first 3 or 4 minutes is really fun and interesting and important to the plot line. So here's Bowser with his dudes, all his bad people. He's trying to get them fired up to go take back their castle. And remember that. Remember that he is locked out of his castle. He can't get in. So yeah, we're headed off to Rose Town. Here we go. Going to the Rose Town. Oh, right in the face! Oh. So, arrows come out of the forest. They're hitting people. They can't move. So, this is a fun little cutscene here. Hey, Mario, I'll be taking care of Princess Toadstool now. Boing, boing. Super jump attack! Oh, what? You think you can hurt me with your childish pranks? Apparently Bowser's James Mason for this. I am Bowser Mason. James the Bowser Mason. Thanks to Eddie Izzard for letting me steal that joke. So basically this kid's playing with dolls, and Mario is getting beat up. Hey, it's me! Ba-bang! That happens every time somebody's like, hey, who are you? All I have to do is just jump. Like no one else is able to jump like that. Yes, I'll play with Gaz. What kind of name is Gaz? That's short for like Gazmodius or something? I don't know. Oh, who is this guy? Gino or Gina. Whatever. Gino. Yeah. Okay, watch this. This is hilarious. Whoa! Right in the face! Ugh. So he passes out. All right. So basically coming up in this little cutscene is this star creature comes out of the sky and inhabits what he has or she has witnessed to be the most powerful being. And because Gaz was playing with Gino as if Gino was like way better than Mario, he decides to choose the Gino doll. So anyway, today I want to talk about the time that I almost died. And this was actually quite recently. I wouldn't say that. So there's a scientific phenomenon called NDEs, near-death experiences, and a near-death experience typically involves actually having physiologically died and then come back, and then there are sorts of experiences that go along with that. Sometimes I think when we say near-death experience, we mean like I nearly died, and we exaggerate the degree to which you nearly died. And I would say there have been 3 or 4 times in my life where I've thought, this it's the end, it's over. I'm going to start praying for my eternal soul. This was probably the least deathy of all of them. But I went to my friend Courtney. She got married in Illinois, and I had driven out to see her wedding, and it was really great. And it was a lot of fun. And on the way back, during the reception, the heavens opened up, and it just snowed like crazy. Like there was literally 0 snow on the ground. Well, not 0 snow, but like the roads were all clear and everything. And then during the reception, it had snowed like a foot. Like it just came down. So I'm driving back, and I normally take like major roads. And I got a text from my mom, and she said, hey, 69 is closed. So I thought, oh shoot, that's what I was going to do. I was going to take 74 or not 74. I was going to take, this highway to 69 and then go south into Indianapolis. So it's closed. So what I had to do was I had to kind of take a jog south and get to 70 so that I could take 70 east back into Indy. So I'm on this, it's 11:30 at night. I'm on this county road. I'm doing like 40, if that, because the visibility is so bad. The speed limit's 60, I think. 60 or 65. And it's really bad. And it starts to clear up, and I'm maybe 5 miles from the interstate. I'm like, okay, this is good. It's starting to clear up. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Here we go. I go back up to 60, which is probably way too fast for this particular situation. Like, I should have been doing 20 when the visibility was low, and then 40 when it got better. But I was like, I'm in a hurry. I'm invincible, 26-year-old. And I sped up, and it was fine. And then I went to change lanes. And to this day, I don't remember why I was changing lanes. I don't know why. Why change lanes on an empty road? Don't know. I went to change lanes, and I felt the wheels start to slip. And I panicked and drastically overcorrected. And I'm doing 60, and the car just spins, and so it starts turning clockwise so that the driver's side door is facing up the road. And the whole thing probably lasted 10 or 12 seconds, because I remember looking at it later thinking like, holy cow, my car traveled like really far up into the embankment. But at the time, all I remember was the car starts to turn, I overcorrect, it starts to turn the other way, and then I go, oh God, oh God. And then the next thing I knew, the car is at a standstill. And apparently what had happened was I turned and then pretty much flew backwards up into the embankment, off the road, and was just hopelessly stuck. Oh man, like, and my first reaction was not, oh my gosh, I'm okay. I didn't die. I realized I came to a stop, ground to a halt. I turned the car engine off. And then I just got mad. I was so mad because I really wanted to go home. It was late. It had been a long day. I had done a lot of driving. And I just hit my steering wheel. I was like, and then my next thought was, I better call my parents. And then I looked at my phone, and my phone said, no service. And then I got mad again because I hate Sprint. And I was just like, no! Pounded my steering wheel, and I threw my phone on the seat next to me. And then, it's been about 60 seconds since the car came to a standstill. I realized, oh, I could have died. And then just my body recognizes the wave of adrenaline that just washed over my body. And I went, and got really sick to my stomach. And I sat there just like having this internal panic moment for a second. And it was so surreal because I tried to think, I looked back up the road as best I could. And I'm in the middle of just stupid nowhere. I was maybe, I don't know, 5 miles north of I-70 in Indiana, about 10 miles east of the Indiana-Illinois border. It's dark, there's nobody, I have no service, I haven't seen a car for half an hour. So I start the car and I try to, and the snow has drifted to like 2 feet. There's no way the car's getting out. So I get out of the car and I go to my trunk and I put on all the clothes that I have, and then I have all my camping stuff in the trunk. So I get out my sleeping bag and I get out my thing because I'm fully prepared to spend the night in my car because I haven't seen to anyone. So I do that, I put my hazards on, I go up to the road, I wander up and down the road trying to get service on my phone. I see one car pass on the other side, I wave futilely at them, and I didn't want to yell. I kind of went, hey, but I didn't want to like yell full voice because one, I think subconsciously I recognize that a person driving 60 miles an hour inside their car is not going to hear someone yell. Dude, wake up. And also, I had this sense of like, oh, it's almost midnight. I don't want to disturb people. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to disturb people. But they drive past. I don't get their attention. I just decided, whatever. I've been out on the road for an hour. It's like 9 degrees outside, so I'm really cold. And I just think, like, I'm going to spend the night in the car. It's not the worst. I've got plenty of stuff. It was almost sort of like an adventure, like a rite of passage, spending the night in a car in the cold. But the thing I was most upset about was, like, I know my parents were expecting me to be home. I was living at home at this point. And I know that my mom was going to wake up at 6 a.m. and be like, where's my son? He's dead! And just panic. And I didn't want to do that to her. That was the thing I was most anxious about. I wasn't anxious about spending the night in a car. I've slept in the cold before. I backpack, I hike, I camp, I do. So it's not a big deal. So I'm getting in. I put like I had 2 pairs of pants. I put the pants on and I put stuff on me. And I'm just about to turn the hazards off and turn my phone off and go to bed and just try to sleep. When a car drives past on my side of the road, goes about 100 yards ahead, and then backs up, and I'm like, oh yeah! I don't even know how it happened. I get out of the car and I trudge through the snow, and the guy rolls down his window, and his name's Joe. Joe is like maybe 65, and he's like, hey, car trouble? I was like, yeah, can you just like take me to a gas station? He was like, yeah, hop in. So I went, I locked my car, and he drove me, the 5 miles down the road. He let me use his phone. I called my mom, who didn't pick up, and then I called Dad, who did pick up. And basically I had to wait at a gas station / Wendy's for an hour and a half because that's how far away from home I was. I felt so bad when Dad rolled up at 2 a.m. at the gas station / Wendy's, and he just looked like, oh my gosh, I have to work tomorrow. Like, why would you do this to me? But he was a really good sport about it. And Joe was so cool. It turns out, I told him, yeah, I was okay. Yeah, I was okay because I had all my camping stuff. He's like, oh, you like to camp? I do camping and kayaking. He kayaks down like rivers with his camping stuff and then sleeps on the bank. I was like, that is so cool. And we talked about camping for a while, and he asked me where I'm from, and somehow we ended up talking about how I went to school, where I went to high school, and he's like, oh yeah, I ref volleyball there. I was like, what? So it turns out that like I've probably seen this dude. He knows all these things about my life, and he just stopped on the side of the road and picked me up, and that's Joe. Joe is a really cool dude, and he pulled up into the gas station. He had to put a little gas in his car, and I was like, Joe, you've been awesome. Can I buy you a sandwich? Can I buy you a drink? He's like, no, don't worry about it. Whatever. I was like, dude. So props to Joe. Joe, if you ever listen to this, you're the man. There's a tiny bit of regret in my life because I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted to sleep in my car. That would have been sort of fun. But Joe is awesome, and my mom is especially thankful for Joe, and she thinks that he's an angel. I just think that he's a person, but I think you can be both. True form pin, yeah! So yeah, that's the time that I almost died, and it's really not about dying, but I think that the reason that I think that I almost died was because I have no memory of between the time that I said, oh God, and when the car stopped. No memories at all. So I could have died, I might not have. There's Gino. We're going to call it quits here. See you next time on Tory Talks.